Hello and welcome to the Fast Financials demo video for finance, cash management. Starting with sales invoices, we can either select new or choose to edit a document. Inserting the customer number brings in all of the customer's details. Adding lines, if you're using inventory, by choosing the line type item, the item number and quantities, the system adds in the applicable prices. Alternatively, we can add GL lines in, as well as modifying descriptions, and the system uses the quantity times the unit price entered. We can insert standard text, as well as typing free text. If required, we can send an approval request and post the invoice. Going to the customer account, we can drill through to the balance and see the posted document. Now, on to posting cash. Going to the cash receipt journals, we put in the posting date, document type and customer details. If we know what they are paying, type in the amount. Alternatively, we can go to Apply Entries and select the entries that are being paid. If we are receiving a part payment, edit the amount to apply accordingly. Pressing OK takes the figure back to the journal entry. In this case, there is a balancing account number to balance on the same line. Entering lines without a balancing account will bring the journal out of balance. We can then put in a balancing line to balance the journal overall. Here we will select the bank account that the money is going into and enter the amount to balance the journal. This method will produce one line for the bank reconciliation. Using the reconciliation function shows us the impacts on the accounts. We can now post the journal. Going back to the customer to look at the ledger entries, we see the movement lines. Here are the applied entries, i.e. invoices for the payment line. Or alternatively, we can look at the transaction line and see the payment that closed the entries. We also have a payment here that is not allocated. Looking at the applied entries, there aren't any entries against it. Clicking on Apply Entries offers up the outstanding unpaid invoices. We can type in the amount to apply against the line, set applies to ID, and it allocates that money. Going to Apply Entries, we post the application. Going to Applied Entries shows the payment applied to the invoice. We can also unapply entries. For example, if we have matched the cash receipt to the wrong transaction. There is also the option to reverse the entire transaction. Finally, we're going to look at reporting on our aged accounts. Here, we specify a range of parameters, including aging date, how it is aged, and the period length. The amounts in LCY converts foreign currency into your local currency, and the print details selection shows the outstanding invoices per customer. Looking at the report with its titled columns, the detail is under each customer. At the end of the report, we can also see the totals in local currency. Running the report again, this time without detail, shows just the totals per customer. Finally, we are able to run the report looking at just one currency. Turning off the amount in the LCY checkbox shows the euro balance. We are now going to look at paying purchase invoices. Going into our payment journals, we have multiple journals, and we can set up as many as we require, perhaps for different payment types. Looking at our bank journal, we are going to run Suggest Vendor Payments. This is a batch job to suggest which supplier invoices are due for payment. Firstly, put a payment date, which will select any invoices with a due date up to and including this date. Set other options, such as find payment discounts and choosing the vendor priority, which chooses which invoices to pay based on the importance of your supplier. Here we suggest what we posted on the journal entries, including posting date, starting document number, and the bank account that we are paying into. We are also able to filter which suppliers that we want to look at. We can now see the lines appropriate to our filter. The first lines are the documents for the same vendor, paying different amounts for different invoices. If we decide not to pay some of these, for example, because this is a large amount, just delete the lines that we don't want. Now, renumber the documents to make sure that they are in sequence. This is double entry with a balancing account. If we post this now, this will apply the entries and take those figures to our bank account. We are going to delete these lines and run the Suggest Payments batch again. This time we are going to tick the Summarise per Vendor option. This time we just have 3 lines, 1 per vendor. Drilling down, we see the entries that are being applied per vendor. We can delete the lines and run the routine as many times as we require. There is the option to export this as a BACS file. You can print checks and print or email remittance advices also. Once you are happy with all elements of the batch, press the Post button. And that concludes our overview of cash management. Please contact us if you have any further questions.